Welcome back to another episode of Critical Affection, where we affectionately criticize the pop culture that we love. And today is almost Brian's birthday.
Yay!
Happy birthday! Happy
May
early
the
birthday.
4th be with you, which is
Yes,
not my birthday.
May the 4th be, and also with you. That's how you know that you're a Star Wars fan and a Catholic.
Yes.
Yeah, so Brian got to pick the movie, and you picked
The Incredibles from long, long ago. Far,
it wasn't
far
that
away.
long ago. Ugh.
Oh, it was.
Before we talk about The Incredibles, though, everybody look at this. Look it up. Look at how good it's doing. If we get to 200 backers, so Fred made me draw another picture. So if we get to, and I'm
Excellent.
almost done with it. So if we get to 200 backers, I'm gonna add to the sticker set.
Nice.
It's Luca. And she's not done yet, but like I'm
Yes.
gonna add her. And I'm gonna post her tonight. I'm gonna finish her tonight before I go to sleep.
That's so
And
cute.
I'll post her tonight. And you got just about 24 hours to go and back. So, and we already made it. If we make it, like, it's less than $1,000 to the next goal now. It's possible. And if we do that, if we get to that, we're getting bookmarks, I think. Did I say bookmarks? Yeah, metal bookmark for everybody. Although a whole ass sticker set's pretty cool. I mean, you're gonna get that no matter what, right? So, all right, that's all I wanted to do. Now we're gonna talk about The Incredibles, which wasn't that long ago, you guys. I don't like feeling this old.
Some of the animation I was watching, I'm like, oh, that's a little rough. That's a little Toy Story 1.
Yeah. No, it was 22 years ago, I think. 22 years ago. Ugh. Not crazy about that. Yeah, and it's weird watching it again, how like we thought, oh my god, it's so amazing when we first watched it. This is so amazing. The graphics are amazing. And then you watch it now and you're like, ugh. You know what? It was so amazing, but now it's so much better that they're leaving everybody in the dust here. But it's held up reasonably well, I think. Like, all things considered, it's not doing too bad. And
The overall the look of it and the CGI and all those pieces do really well. You can definitely tell like that they had just gotten that water effect going, and so you could tell they were using that water effect that showed up in all of the CGI stuff in that era.
so much.
And there was
Surprised they
definitely
didn't
one
have like a
space-
water villain.
right?
Or somebody who could control water.
But they had the water hero, so you know,
Ozone.
exactly.
That is technically water.
Yeah. I mean, and they had a lot of ripples and stuff in there, so like it was water-ish.
Yeah. There's
They're not
definitely one
bad.
scene where Violet's face just sort of stopped being animated and seemed like it was just sort of like a circle with some geometric shapes on it. And I was like, oh, did they not render that?
I missed that one. Which
didn't
scene
get
is
that.
that?
I don't remember. It was like part way through the movie, and there was just one part where they were panning on her face, and it just stopped being as flexible and expressive as the rest of them had been. And it was just very noticeable to me in the moment. I was like, huh, that's
Fair enough.
all right. But
Yeah,
yeah,
no.
I agree. Overall, they did it held up well. It didn't break reality so much that you popped out all the time being like, "Oof, they need new computers with this."
I think this movie happened before Craig T. Nelson, the voice of Mr. Incredible, decided to tell everybody that nobody ever helped him get where he is today. And I'm so tired of people saying that. Even if nobody helped you like personally, your entire life today is built upon the backs of the people who made everything that you now use today. So please stop saying that.
When did this happen? I don't know what this story is.
It was because I think he's kind of a conservative guy. I don't know if he's like super right wing conservative, but he leans more conservative. And I'll probably 15 years ago, maybe he said that nobody helped him get where he was, and then he talked about like in the same breath he talked about how he was on food stamps, and I was like, "Are you freaking serious, bro?" Like the lack of self awareness, my dude.
Yeah.
Oh dear Lord! In
Oh no, she
2011
googled it. She googled
Fox
it.
News interview on the Glenn Beck show. He made headlines for a rant where he expressed opposition to bailout and public assistance, stating, "I've been on
It is-
food stamps and welfare. Anybody help me out? No." That's what food stamps and welfare are.
All
Yeah.
right, so yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So yeah,
Okay.
well, unfortunately, yeah, it's
There's
It's-
also
it was-
there's also the thing that I really just resent is just like the acceptance of the luck to be born in this day and age and where you were. Like it's the luck of like, I mean, if you were to like line up everybody that ever lived in history, you know, like we have it better than like anybody, you know, kings that lived like, you know, up until like 50 or 100 years ago would trade all their wealth and power for central air and the internet, you know? So, I mean, and plumbing.
You were born also the luck
And
about
crisp.
what family you were born into. If they've got a lot of money, you're just your heads and shoulders above, etc. Like,
if you were born before the 80s ish,
right?
and you were like, it didn't matter if you it didn't matter how smart you were. If you were a woman, it didn't matter how smart you were. You
Mhm.
were not going to get anywhere. You could be carrying around the cure for cancer in your head, and it wouldn't matter because you're a woman. Go back to a couple hundred years ago and before. It did. If you were carrying that cure for cancer around, but you were brown, you weren't gonna be telling anybody that because it didn't matter. Like it's a privilege to like it just you don't think about that, and too many people don't think about that.
Yeah, and that's, but they're also reacting to statements like that. They're trying to say
Yeah.
that, well, I didn't have a super rich family, I didn't have things easy. And they're trying to state that, you know, things weren't easy for them, and because they feel like that's being, I guess, taken away in some ways because they didn't have the easier path in life. But they're not seeing that the statement isn't, oh, these people have it much harder than you, and so that means you've had an easier life. This is a
Mhm.
different track. You can have had not a good time. Someone who is a woman or who is not white, who is on the same path as you, if you're a white man who is, you know, middle class or poor, let's go with poor because that's usually kind of where you see it a bit, is if you were also then a woman or a person of color or disabled, it would have been harder. That's what they're trying to say. But a lot of men tend to take it to mean, well, that means that you've had it easy. And nobody is saying that.
It's I mean, I think you said something kind of key there. I think you said something about like what you were getting at, I think, is like perspective, right? And like what people you know, it's really about like, you know, the how big your aperture is and how big your perspective is. Because one of the things I was actually going to mention that with The Incredibles, right, is one of the criticisms that I used to hear about this movie a lot is that it's just a Fantastic Four, you know, ripoff. And
What?
it's
not.
I've heard
It's
that
not.
before,
and
yeah.
it's not.
It's
It's
better
not
than
at all.
most of them.
It's well, I will whatever, but I will do. I like this movie quite a bit actually, and this is actually the first time I've ever seen it start to finish. I've seen it in like chunks before, and I really appreciated it and enjoyed it. But for people that say that this is like a Fantastic Four ripoff and stuff, it's all about like how far back your perspective goes, because the Fantastic Four, well, I love it. It's one of my favorite series and stuff. Is incredibly derivative and a reaction to what was going on at the time. Fantastic Four was a team book because the Justice League was selling well. Human Torch was a derivative of the actual Human Torch that preceded him, the android, and then of course the Thing is just what was going on at the time. Stan Lee and those guys came up with like hundreds of like one word monster looking rock people, and Groot even, who was just a tree, like Groot. I mean, there were so many Oog, like there were just tons of these like sounding monsters and stuff. So the idea that like Fantastic Four was like a bolt of lightning in a clear sky is not true. It's just about how aware you are of where the influences come from and how far back it goes. So yeah, and that's
also
the same
it's
thing.
a weird, I mean, when we look at the actual movie, it is in fact very heavy on stereotypes and tropes and things, but like the actual combo of people in the family and how that all works out is not aligned very closely with that like it's not derivative, it's its own thing. I think it's because there's a married couple in there that they decided it must be the same thing, which is a weird stereotyping thing to do.
I think there's more. I think I can draw a few more comparisons than that. with the her power is a reflection of his power. Miss Elastigirl and Mr. Fantastic have the same power. Mr. Fantastic, Mr. Incredible, and they become the namesake of the team. The idea that it's a quadrant or 4 people against.
I mean, yes, they both have
Underminer.
terrible superhero names that shouldn't have been used. And there are 2 stretchy people, but that stretchy people is a power. Like, it doesn't mean that ties. Like, yeah, I don't see it.
I know. I started this by agreeing with what you're saying. I'm just saying, though, I can see how people could make that, thing. The Underminer and the Mole. It's the same thing when you watch Invincible. They're all surrogates and archetypes. It's not a ripoff. It's just, that's actually kind of a narrow-minded lack of perspective when you say, oh, this is a ripoff or it's not a copy and paste at all.
Right.
Man, that was a hard way to agree with you. But actually, real quick, I had a fun idea for Incredibles today because I actually really enjoyed this movie quite a bit. I don't know for sure. I think Sarah did. We know Brian did because he picked it. Should we maybe start with Amanda and let her
Oh no, I should go last.
But you always
You
go
don't
last.
want to hear what I say.
I want you to shoot holes in it, though. I think I have one. I think I know one thread that you're going to pull at. But I kind of thought it would be fun for you to,
I think Fred wants a chance for a rebuttal.
Yeah. We go first. We always look foolish.
Do not look foolish. Everyone has their own perspective on it, and that's lovely. And people get different things out of the different pieces.
Okay.
And the show's done.
All right, thanks for joining us. Next week we're reviewing.
No, everybody we don't have to talk anymore because look at this fucking cat here just voting
I was
his
gonna
ass
say,
off, right? What do we even need to do any show
Your
for?
cat was looking regal and right into the camera. It was just
Right?
gorgeous. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which one's is that again? Is that
This is Ick.
it's Ick? Okay.
Yeah.
Ick is gorgeous. That's
Change your
blue.
name.
Look
That's
how
blue.
pretty he's being, and he's being so good. And he's not Well, okay, so I got a big fleece coat on right now, so he's not able to dig in quite as much as
Good.
cause pain. But
Mm-hmm. All right. Do you actually want me to go first, or should I go last?
Go first. Let's see what happens.
All right. We're now discussing the parts that we did not like. Is that correct?
Yeah,
sure,
that's a
let's
fun
do
clip.
it.
No. If we're talking about the parts we like, then let's start
I think we
there.
squeed on
I-
it
Well,
for a
let's
little
get
while.
I think we all like this movie, so let's just go ahead and get the shitty stuff out of the way first, and then we can just talk about how fun it is for the rest of the show.
Oh, okay. So,
So convinced.
for me, I remembered watching the movie, but I didn't really remember it all that much. And watching it, I didn't realize how much I was going to dislike it and how terrible it was. So, as a result, I watched a movie where a middle-aged white man had a midlife crisis, and we basically see this violent, angry man who is maybe going through a certain amount of depression, but his family is just like this extension of him. So he's unhappy and disinterested in his life and them. And so they aren't, to a certain extent, even real to him. And we're supposed to think he's a good person and that he's meant to have a story arc that we care about, and that's supposed to carry the movie, and it does not work. His self-worth and his validation are just completely wrapped up in other people knowing that he is a superhero. But it's not enough that he is the hero. Like when he was doing the secret superhero work with his friend, that absolutely should have been scratching that itch, and then he could have been a more engaged person at home because he is getting some validation. But they showed that that's not true. It's not about him being a hero. It's about him getting accolades and getting external validation. And so it's not a good look for him. And his entire power seems to be being a violent person who gets to beat up other humans and cause them harm. And that he's a good person because he's doing it to bad people. And that's not a great look. And he apparently we're supposed to believe that he channeled all of that into becoming a sad person and wasn't having violent outbursts at home, other than the verbal ones with his wife. And then to the point that, he seemed like he was a couple months away from being a family annihilator. And so as a result, not a good look. the way that they do the kids and the wife are also not amazing. Like shy Violet, who can turn invisible, great stereotyping. Dash, who can run really fast. They don't know their powers when they're born, but somehow they conveniently named them well. But like shy Violet, who can disappear from her violent father. Ah, okay. Dash, who's able to run away from violent father, or is able to at least, peacock and be like, "Hey, I'm like you. I put a tack on the teacher's chair. I hurt her. Do you love me? Do you want to be nice to me and not hurt me?" Like it's not good. It's not good. Yeah. And then just the way that they make it all about him getting the job that he could. That's when he suddenly is invested in his body again, and then he gets to play fun, happy, divorced dad who throws the ball and does cool stuff with the kids, but he's not taking any mental load off his wife. He's not actually helping. He did disinterestedly lift the couch while she was vacuuming. Like, they both work for 8 hours a day, and then they're supposed to be sharing stuff at night. So that's when they share the parental duties, but instead he's sitting around just casually lifting things, reading, doing other things, still not fully engaged with being a parent or a husband. And that the only way they show the improvement in their marital relationship is now he's getting to bone her regularly, and that means that he loves her and they have a great relationship now, and all of their arguments are over. And of course, then he brings the little sports car in, and that's part of that midlife crisis motif that they're going for, so that they can make a really big deal about hinting that he's having an affair instead of going off and superheroing. Like, she wouldn't have really thought it was superheroing from the get-go, especially with the suit being repaired. And yeah, so that the way that his character did not get any real growth, he became like, because he felt better about himself, he was willing to feel better about his family. And so even when he thought they died, it was all about performing to the villains about how he was going to destroy them and having a dramatic moment.
That was the first time that he actually really showed that he cared at all, was when he thought they were dead and he started to sob.
Mm-hmm.
Which,
yeah,
I actually had a lot of the same arguments as you, and I was like, oh man, is gonna be so proud of me.
Yes.
So I was like, I was like, the whole time we're listening to Helen scream to him, "It's not about you," and I'm like, fucking Helen's right, man. Why aren't you listening? Oh, yeah. And then we find out that he kind of he is Syndrome's villain origin story.
Yeah.
And he created Syndrome,
to be fair, Syndrome was unhinged, and there's he shouldn't have been putting a kid in danger. So Syndrome going off and becoming the villain is
he should have thing. Instead of just this is just another example of Mr. Incredible not understanding kids and being like, you need parenting classes, bro, because you should have explained to the young child who should not have been going out superheroing why, instead of, "Buddy, I work alone," you should have been saying, "Listen, it's not safe, and I'm more than happy to come and you need to train, you need to get proficient at these things. Like, you can't just jump into superheroing." And he's, he needed to ground Buddy's expectations, not just totally shut him down. Like, that's how you create resentful kids. And then Syndrome took it to the extreme,
But at the same time, Syndrome was gonna go down that path regardless. He did that deliberately so that, again, Bob is spotless. It's not Bob's fault he turned out a villain. This was just an unhinged little child that took something he said the wrong way, and he jumped on him to pull off a bomb, and he still becomes the villain trying to kill him because he tried to save his life and then told him to get out of there. They just do everything in their power to make sure that it's always about Bob and how Bob is really supposed to be a good person.
Yeah, it's problematic.
Oh yeah.
And Bob doesn't have a ton of he has a little bit of growth, I guess, but it wasn't what I would have liked to see. Especially when I watched this when it first came out in 2000.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely was very
2000.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good year. I remember that year.
Yeah, that year.
Right. I remember being just thinking how great it was, how good the story was. But yeah, rewatching it, from, you know, like years later, you're just like, wow, this does have, there's some superficial stuff. Like we're just meant to gloss over all those problems that the main
They
protagonist has.
correctly put the superheroes on ice. They were destroying property.
Yeah.
They rescued someone who didn't want to be rescued and like injured them. That was horrible. Like that was not good at all. You don't stop someone who wants to kill themselves that badly. Like what the hell?
Yeah, you talk to him. You can't just I mean that took, it's not what you want to see. It's not the outcome that you want, but they did take away his agency. He wanted to choose
And
that
left-
for himself.
yeah, and permanently
and-
injured him. Like and
Also,
then
I would.
Hmm?
I was just gonna say I wouldn't want to be the parent driving home and trying to explain what suicide was to my kid. I mean, it's a funny joke. I laughed. I'm like, ah ha ha, reluctant suicide savior. But I mean, not like it's not a knee slapper. Maybe I'm overstating it, but I mean, it was ironic, right? You know, something you hadn't seen before per se, and yeah, it just like this is a PG movie. Like suicide.
You can
jokes.
argue that he did the right thing, but also they
You
could have
don't
done
want to. Daddy, why did he jump off the building? Daddy, what did he like? What does that mean? Like, I don't know. I just wouldn't want to,
right. It's
Yeah.
it's not necessarily something that you would bring into the situation per se. But
Yeah.
again, they did that so that he was getting sued for something where we would be sympathetic to him rather than to the people where he caused damage, like the building that collapsed and killed a father, and he gets sued for that would have been bad because then you could actually see how being a superhero who causes massive destruction is bad. Here, you're supposed to feel more on Bob's side because he saved his life, and so it's Bob's okay in this scenario, but he's still
Well,
getting
yeah,
sued,
and-
and isn't
and
that
the-
a shame?
Yeah, when he's getting sued, like the guy is still shouting at him that I wanted to die. It's like he still feels that way. And now he's stuck being unable to move properly, so he probably can't do it the way that he was hoping to, and like
Yeah, but it plays on that
nothing
taboo
is in no way
about.
defending suicide or anything. Like we should have had a trigger warning at the beginning of this, but
It's true.
Imagine
although-
having to do a trigger warning at the beginning of an Incredibles episode. Like
I
it's
mean, the
PG-13
movie
movie.
needed one. Then if that's how we're
we
playing
really
this.
should have had
so,
one.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's nobody's glorifying it here, but like it. And it was that is like when you really think about it, that's a dark topic for Disney to pick too.
Yeah.
Dang, they could have done something that was equally horrifying.
I mean,
but
they were
less
talking about
difficult.
people getting sued for like all the damage they were doing. Those buildings dropped on people
Yeah.
and vehicles and pets. Like
All the
Yeah,
people in the
they
train.
weren't talking about how many
were
dogs died because and how they got sued for that.
Damage. Oh yeah, collateral damage up the wazoo.
Yeah. So
Um,
it made sense. But at the same time, if that had happened, if they had sued the program into oblivion and now the superheroes were no longer out there being super in public, 100% the government and corporations are now using them in private. There's no way that Bob is just now at an insurance company being unhappy, having to secretly help people while he
soldier now.
yeah, no, he's absolutely in whatever is like at a minimum, he could be doing like local firefighter stuff and be getting his hero on that way. But more broadly, he'd absolutely be being drop shipped into various countries to do quasi good things on behalf of the government and or corporations.
and I want Amanda to write Incredibles 3. That would
God,
be
everything.
like the dark years, that would be a great one.
I mean, that's how that works.
What'd you hate about it, Fred?
Actually, I really liked it, man, in spite of all that, right?
Yeah,
And here's the thing, okay, and I accept this while again, it's the duality of our show, right? Critical and affection. It's a shame that this movie is so like tropey, right? I understand that, part of the reason why is when the movie's made and the market for it, right? To somebody, that is, a representation of their family, and that was to the people that were making the movies. They saw that to be where their money was, so they focus on like a nuclear family, and they try to work through it. And it's very it's very much like a superhero movie meets like the Married with Children dynamic that was like pervasive at the time. Like it's like mid 90s, and it's funny that like it's that kind of thing brought forward to kids and like dealing with like suicide and what really is like, an analogy for an affair, but to some people, that's a story that they can like relate to, like the kids feeling like, when the kids are like threatened by like what's going on with mom and dad and stuff like that. Like, so it's like, it's a shame that it's like so tropey, but it's also like, okay, that it's neat that it is, in a lot of ways for me, just kind of a fun superhero romp. I enjoyed it a lot. I give a lot of credit to the look and the score of it. Like that's a hard genre to get people to like, that kind of like that retro futuristic thing. Like it doesn't always play well in like major mainstream movies. It's almost like steampunk. It reminds me of like people that like it are really into it, but if it's not done well, it doesn't hit a broader audience. So I like the feel of it. I like the look of it. Like, yeah, it's very tropey. I mean, that's why I made the comparison to like Married with Children. It is almost like it's not a, like super functional family in spite of the fact that it's like presented that way. But what I do like about it is, especially the thing I like most about it, and this is very Fantastic Four-y, but I like, what I call like the one unremarkable power dynamic, right? Where like, if you look at the Justice League, like Superman has like 5 or 6 powers. He's essentially a god himself. Wonder Woman, very similar. Green Lantern has the power of will. They're all like really dynamic. Like with the exception of like, I mean, in this case specifically, they're all, like invisibility and like a small force field isn't special by itself, nor is really running very fast. Or I'm going to get into the powers in a second because I have one more thing to say about the powers. But it's the fact that like if they all work together and like you use the elasticity in a way that supports the brute strength, supports the speed, supports they're a team that's greater than the sum of their parts or whatever the saying is and stuff. So I like that dynamic that like, hey, we're all in this together and like my thing is different than your thing, but we are better as a team. Right, kind of like the 4 of us. But anyway, it's like I really like that theme, and I think that works to young people. If like some of the stuff gets bogged down in the way, like I think as
I agree,
movie,
and
it
also
works.
they did the siblings as having a loving relationship instead of being the stereotypical contentious, trying to like leave each other to die on the island contentious, which was great. That was great to see. And then to your point, when their powers work together, so that in the bubble and doing things together, that was a lovely part of the movie.
Yeah. But my one thing I will say about the powers is, and they lean very much into the powers being a representation, I would say, of the character, but also of like the tropiness of them. Like Dash is a burst of energy because he's a manic child. She's,
ADHD child of the era.
Well, I'm bipolar. I'm manic. I say manic.
Fair enough.
We didn't see, but I bet you Dash has some depressive hours in the day. But Violet has, the invisibility, like she disappears, it hones in with her motion. The interesting thing was, and Amanda, you alluded to it earlier, is like the dynamic of the parents, right? They're very like what of the time and even before the time of archetypes of like male and female roles. And even the way he looks, right? He looks like a V, like a slice of pizza upright, like The Rock or like Schwarzenegger or somebody like that. She is very hippie and sleek and low to the ground. His power is being brute force, unmovable and strong. Her power is being reactive and elastic and whatever. Her power, like I was watching her power, the way it works, and it reminded me of one of my old favorite quotes of Ginger Rogers, right? The female role is to do everything the man does, but backwards and in high heels. So, it's like it was very interesting the way that they used their powers in that way. And like, yeah, it in some ways is kind of like, a little that it's like so typical gender normie and stuff. But, it's what it is, because like I said, the movie works in a lot of other ways. And, I was able to kind of just, check out and enjoy it and enjoy all the superhero pastiche of it.
How about you, Brian?
Sorry, I'm sick, so my throat is a little gross right now. But my problem with it was that Helen did not get near enough recognition. The movie had to be about Bob because Bob was flawed, but Helen was everything all the time. She was strong. She was equally useful in a fight. She conducted fights. She did the one-person espionage. But she was never. She was not highlighted as much as she deserved to be.
Absolutely. She was like she shouldn't have had to have been that strong, but they were basically stereotyping her into being the superwoman of the family that did everything. And then they also had her be the one that she was at the top of her game as they were getting married and wasn't ready to settle down. And then circumstances changed in part thanks to Bob. And now what were they going to do? And so they had to start having a smaller, quieter life. And she figured out how to do that and make herself smaller.
That's true. You don't actually see her breaking any shit when they decide to ban superheroes. That was all Bob. That was
Yeah.
Bob and Frozone were breaking shit left and right.
She was,
And
yeah.
She didn't break anything.
And she had vast disappointment in her life and radical change from what she wanted. She didn't want 3 kids right then. That was not her plan. She had to adapt to it. And she becomes this superwoman who's doing all the planning and all of this. And then they have to relocate over and over because Bob keeps having outbursts and refuses to deal
Grow
with
up.
his shit. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's
they-
the strongest by far.
They make her an obstacle to his mission in the movie. Like she's the one that makes him at the altar swear off like what he likes and what makes him him. So it is kind of like, that's where it becomes his story, because it's like he's the one that's given up all the stuff. And they don't, like Brian said, they don't
But he
nearly
hasn't.
acknowledge the fact that she gave up really everything. And like you guys said, it's his fault. Like, she has to kind of give up, what she loved to some degree too, because of, his big mistake. And so did all the heroes. Like,
Well,
he should be a pariah.
he was like the number one, like the de facto number one superhero. Like that's what they want us. That's what they were leading us to believe in here. And then
But his powers weren't that great.
absolutely,
Nobody's
yeah,
was.
he was just really, really strong and indestructible, right? But like, he's all the shit that they talk about that they cite when they decided to to put the superheroes into witness protection was all shit that he did. Like if they just had grounded him, all the other superheroes probably could have gone on what they were doing without.
That's why they had the newsreel that showed that the other heroes were getting sued for other things, so that it wouldn't be just all about Bob, because Bob
It was
can't be
mostly
blamed
about
for
Bob,
things
though.
singularly.
Can't he though?
Can't he?
I wish he would have had more character growth in this. Like he
Yeah.
never once actually admits, yeah, I did this. This is largely my fault. And then I went and like, he just
Yeah.
where is
I
that?
wanted to see his actual character growth where he realized that being a superhero didn't mean that he just had to beat the shit out of somebody, and that being a near serial killer like aspect of getting glee from hurting others wasn't necessarily needed to be the thing that he needed for fulfillment. That he could have found fulfillment from being an actually engaged father doing, good things. That he could have been a loving husband that actually carried part of the mental load of being in that household. That he could have had a job as a social worker who was always helping people find the resources they need instead of secretly doing it in a little cubicle. Or a firefighter where he can just, I had an adrenaline rush and totally picked up, the 12 orphans and 4 kittens and rushed them out of the building. There's 100 different ways that he could have been a productive, helpful superhero inside his community. And he did none of it. He also, if he was so keen for the superhero underground life, why wasn't he exercising and getting fit before the montage so that he could do it the
Right.
full way? It was only once he got, back, he got that I might be famous again and people might, acknowledge me as being a superhero out loud, that he decided to do anything about himself.
Yeah, he needs some serious therapy, doesn't
Oh my God, so much.
like you should never be that dependent on the approval of others. You need to have some like the approval of your family. Absolutely, you should definitely want that from your family, but like he did not care about his, like you said, they were just accessories to him,
Hmm.
and Helen was the actual heart of the family.
Yeah. And he was
Yeah,
sad that he lost his
he-
accessories, but then,
yeah, like in the second movie, I know that they tried to rectify that and highlight Helen a lot more, but that movie has its own problems.
Yeah, I've heard about it. I suspect it's going to be, oh, isn't it funny that he's trying to do the woman's job and can't do it? Ha ha ha. Instead of holding them to a standard. Like, yeah.
Is that what I've never seen the second one. I don't know anything
I
about
have
it.
not seen the second either, but that's my assumption. That's usually what they do. They
Yeah.
make
Is
the
that what it
guy to
is
be
with
this
Mr. Mom?
incompetent dude who's realizing that mom actually,
I
was
think
working
you'll
and
be
not just
surprised
goofing off.
at it when you like if you ever get around to watching it. I think that you'll be surprised at how well they do it. But while I said doo doo, okay, but like while they like, I think that you'll be surprised at how well they handle it. However, they still do all that shit that you just said. So yeah, but
Yeah.
like we have to do a whole different movie, a whole different show for that movie because
yeah.
that movie is it's not as it is as good, but it's also not as good as this one. And you know who? Okay, so you know who I want to talk about? Let's talk about the person who was deeply embroiled in this superhero stuff that pivoted fucking beautifully.
Edna.
Edna Mode.
Edna.
Fucking Mode. She took what she was doing, which I'm not convinced that Edna doesn't have some superpowers of her own. First of all, and
Mhm.
like,
I just made this material.
she
She's a
knew
spider.
yeah, right? Like she's super brilliant scientist, but also she knew exactly what Jack was gonna do before he did it, and she made him a little baby onesie shit, and it stood up to all his goddamn powers. What the fuck, right? How did she know that? She's like, oh, I didn't know the baby's powers, so I covered the basics. Like, no,
That's what you do.
you knew exactly what that baby could do. And
No.
but like before anybody else did, like she knew. Like anyway,
I mean,
that's just my little rant. I think that Edna Mode is a little clairvoyant. But
Fair.
like she's the one of all of them. Like no, she didn't relive any glory days. She pivoted and
No
turned
capes,
it
look
into
forward.
a new thing.
Mhm.
She took everything she was good at, and then when she no longer had superheroes to clothe, she pivoted and she did it wonderfully, and she made an amazing career of like just uber successful. Like she's my favorite character. Guess what the sticker is this week, you guys?
It's gonna
Is
be
it a
great
cape?
then. Oh yeah, she did.
Are there any other favorite characters? Like, does anybody else have
I wish-
anybody?
I wish we would have gotten more of Mirage too. Like I want to know more about her because she seems like she was a little she was a little one note, and I feel
Mhm.
like there's a story there. There's a
Mhm.
reason she's working for Syndrome. What's going on there?
Oh, but don't worry, she's drawn to bad boy power. That's what she said at the dinner where they were trying to imply that they might have sex
Yeah.
after dinner.
But she would make fast friends with Luca, though. I think.
Hmm?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I can see Luca hiring her for like her eyes in the sky type, like where she's the one monitoring from behind the scenes and
Oh, they'd be
Mhm.
cal pals.
yeah. Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
they would work well together, yeah.
Mhm.
I can see that for sure.
I will say props to the babysitter. Lasting it out as long as she did with Jack doing what Jack was doing. I
Oh my
mean,
god, she handled it well.
she
All
handled
things-
it well, all things considered.
Unfortunately, she was not her Achilles heel was she was already so frazzled, and she didn't vet the guy who came to replace her. He
Yeah.
just was like, he seems legit, and that was it.
And she
She's a freaking 16
mom had said on the phone, I'm going to call an agency. And then an agency person showed up. So that did sort of track.
and even though she should have vetted him a little bit more maybe, but like you can't blame her for that. You can't blame
No.
her
If
for
mom
that.
says an agency's coming and then you can't get a hold of mom and this person swears up and down.
Mhm.
Yeah. I can see how it happens. I'm with you though. Like leaving a baby with a
Poor
stranger.
Kari. Poor Kari. I get she was already hanging on by a thread. So when he came and he seemed real legit, and like what was she? She was maybe 16 if she was that old, but I think she was Violet's friend, and Violet was 14. I think
Mhm.
in that movie. So she's 14, maybe 15, and I'm like I said, 16.
I will say he was dressed like a villain.
That was my
There's
next point.
that.
Yeah.
So there is
fun and
that.
everything.
I I would have much preferred to have had maybe a brief like after clip on the movie that was like him being like, oh, I ran here from a Halloween costume party or something to explain it, because that should have been
Super
a giveaway.
sitters.
Super-
Super sitters. There we go.
Yeah,
Yes.
very briefly. She very briefly is like, "What's with the costume?" But like, she doesn't give it the vetting that it deserves. But again, 14-year-old girl
14-year-old girl.
just got ran through the gauntlet by a magical baby. You know, like
Mhm.
you can't really
CPR
fault
class did not cover that.
No, there's no. I've been through a couple babysitting courses in my day. I don't remember them ever talking about when the baby lights itself on fire.
Yep.
So,
Oh,
Super Babysitters
for
Club.
Edna, I think they did her so wrong, because there is no way she would have designed a suit that when you turn the GPS on, it alerts on the suit, giving away the position of the superhero. 100% would not happen. They just, they
no.
completely faffed on that one. Mm-mm.
They needed something to cause that disturbance that gets him found out, though. So
Yeah,
I
it
guess,
could have been literally any of a
Let's
number of
throw
things
that
that
on
he
Edna.
could have done himself and should have. It's because then he could have actually been responsible for something he was doing.
yeah. Like, yeah.
You expect too much of Disney, my friend.
They had to make the white man the superhero. Oh my god! And he just didn't do anything wrong.
it's
Helen didn't do anything wrong.
I think it was just you got to realize this movie probably started production in like, well, I think I read online the script I think began in like 93 or whatever. So this was like still in that age of like, we're going for like the 4-quadrant Spielberg like family movie and stuff. So like, yeah, they're very tropey, but it's also like, this is like a Disney 4-quadrant, like, you know, summer movie that they were like doing everything they could to make safe money. So it was a new property at that time too, and still a relatively new medium. So like, you know, I get why they made the choices they did.
Well, FYI, a white man also wrote this, so it was gonna be from
Of course.
the view of a white man. Like, if a woman had written this, we would have gotten a completely different movie. I think they tried to do that again with Incredibles 2. They tried to make it, but in the end, it doesn't go as hard as it should with that. But like, you can't get too mad at it, because
that's my point.
like, we're gonna write what we know best, and Brad Bird wrote what he knew best. So, and he actually wrote
Reinforcing
it.
patriarchal norms and centering white males on everything. That's not good.
He wrote it during. Well, it's not good, but I think this was all pre Me Too and like, people were just starting to make this stop being a dirty little secret, and he wrote it while he was having a lot of interpersonal issues too, from what I was reading. And
okay, well, that tracks then.
Yeah. He was uncertain point in his career, and he was writing about he was trying to mirror his family problems that he was having at the time, or something like that. And I mean, you can see it, but he at the end of the day, he's a white guy who had a very specific upbringing, and it shows through his work. And maybe he should have, like, when he got this idea, which was a perfectly good idea, he could have brought a little bit more diversity in. Like, people keep talking about, like, certain people keep talking about how diversity is a bad thing. But is it, though?
Is it? It is not. Oh, speaking of diversity, what was up with Frozone having a wife, but a strident, angry, potentially black wife that we never see? Like, speaking of tropes and what the hells.
I think that was supposed to be that yappy wife, but, you know, like, you can tell he doesn't really like his wife and all that shit. Yeah, that's not a great look there. Not at all.
No. And like, yeah, all of the diversity was not there, and it's cartoons, so you have options, and they took none of them. You have the one best friend, hooray, and who's there to support and be, you know, only there to support the white characters. Yeah.
And they very pointedly show that he's just not as good at superheroing as Mr. Incredible. They show it a couple of different times, which is too bad, because Frozone's a really powerful character, and I want a
you
movie
could
about
do
him.
so much with that power. Yes.
Yes, he's like fucking Elsa used her power, same power by the way. Used that to build a whole goddamn castle. You know, Frozone could do that
In
shit.
one song.
Yeah, spent 3 minutes, and she gave life. She was Elsa is able to use her powers to grant sentience. She did it twice. She did it with Olaf, and she did it with the marshmallow, the big monster. The monster
Yeah.
And like, we don't know if Frozone can do that. Maybe he can.
Even if he can't, he can stop pretty much any villain he encounters. All he has to do is freeze the water in their lungs, and they die. He wins. Like,
froze those cops, and he didn't kill them too. Like, how freaking like the control that he has. He stopped those.
right?
Two
I mean,
cops,
okay.
but he didn't kill
Clearly,
them.
that cop should have been dead, but was not.
Yeah, he
So,
should have.
You
been
guys,
dead.
to the people out there, are you telling me that you also don't want to watch Amanda Wright in Incredibles 3 now? It's like Frozone's freezing the water in their lungs. Like,
I have a really
This is
good
not gonna
ability
be-
to find a way to weaponize almost any superpower.
great.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should probably talk about the stuff that we did like in here because we're peppering
have
it
been.
in, but we
We
really
have.
like
We've been
jumped
pointing
in,
out
diving
that.
hard. Like we've been peppering it in.
Yeah.
Like,
got
is
a
there
big
any?
I got a big
I
one.
get, like,
The
yeah.
voice acting, tremendous.
Oh yeah, I agreed. Yeah. Anybody
Amanda's
that-
making a face, but no, I thought it was.
Anybody, like, well, see, the problem that I have with this looking back is now I'm like, ugh, I wish Craig T. Nelson didn't suck so much.
There's that.
Well,
Like knowing that about him really made me like, because he's like he has a great voice to be Mr. Incredible, but
Mhm.
I wish that I wish that the actor himself didn't suck so much. Not that like I think he's been quieter in the more recent political climate, but unfortunately we've got enough of what he said to know probably where he stands, and that's
Oh
that
yeah.
it's so hard to separate the art from the artist for me, and maybe it's just me, but I
No,
don't
it's
think
correct.
it is. I don't think it is. but yeah, like the voice acting, we're all really appropriate. Well, and the guy who does Syndrome too. I'm like, I just don't like
oh, I
him.
thought he was great.
I think he did a great job, but I just like I'm not a fan of the dude, and I can't remember his
It
name.
bugs me a little bit that Adna wasn't actually a woman. Like, it
Yeah, that
very
was
much
weird.
not.
That was weird.
I think that he fell in love with the character himself doing it, and he just kind of pushed it through. And then the
Yeah.
narrative was no one else could do the voice as well because he really wanted to do it.
I think that I don't think it would take the four of us very long to come up with a woman who would be awesome at that.
There was somebody slated for that role, but
They
The
thought she
consensus
couldn't do it
was-
as well as he did. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
What would you have cast in that role?
I don't know. I'm my mind goes to probably just because they kind of look the same, but I really like her. I think maybe Fran Lebowitz off the top of my head.
Okay.
Interesting. Not quite enough Germanic in there, but yes. That could work.
Yeah.
There's for similar in looks and could possibly throw a little in there is the woman who played Hetty on NCIS Los Angeles. Some people actually think the character was based off that actress, but it was actually a different person. But I think that would have been just any voice, like you're looking for a specific voice to do a little bit of that accent. There are many options.
Was Eartha Kitt still alive? Because I feel like she would have done a good Edna. She's
she did.
Yzma, wasn't she?
Yeah.
She was Yzma, and she did a great Yzma, and I feel like she could have absolutely nailed Edna.
Oh, sure.
I think
I
she
think
was,
so.
I'm gonna Google it. Hang on.
Any of
She's still
the
Eartha.
older
Oh yeah, she
Scarlet
passed away in
would've-
2008.
yeah.
So yeah.
Anybody could, but I mean,
Yeah, like I don't. Oh, Fran Drescher, she might. Like she has that unique voice, but also she has the very New York accent, which maybe wouldn't have worked for her.
Yeah, it's kind of
Like we don't know that she couldn't have done a different accent. We don't know that. She doesn't really do that. She's a character actor, and that's her character. She's been pretty typecast as like that Flushing Queens, New
Oh, yeah.
York girl. So we don't know we don't know her range.
I believe it's the flashy girl from Flushing, the nanny named Fran.
Yeah. She was in a movie. This is one for your side your detours. She was in a
Number
movie where she plays like she becomes a nanny type, and she's for like a dictator.
The Beautician and the Beast.
There it
Yes,
is. Yep, that's
yes.
the one. And like, what is? It was Fran. It was the nanny named Fran, but in Romania or wherever the hell it was. I think it was supposed to be coded as Russia, but
Yeah,
whatever.
they usually go for either Western or Eastern European royalty there. So solid.
Yeah, and of course the brutish dictator type man softens and falls in love with her and becomes a better leader. And
Does he?
I mean, he's like they indicate that he's going in that direction.
Oh,
but
sure they do.
It's been a minute since I've seen that movie.
Oh no, that's just the trope that they always do. Either they're
Yeah.
they're a bit of a hard ass, but they loosen up, or else
I don't see, like, this is this is the real world versus the movies, though, because like nobody changes I mean, and apologies to half of the company here, but like men don't change like that. They just don't. Like
women don't either.
He would change temporarily for her like that, but eventually they would both slip back into their old ways, and all the little things that he found endearing about her would become liabilities, and then all the things that he changed to make her happy, he'd go back to the way he was, and then it would not end well.
Yeah, there's
She would be a candidate for a voice for Edna Mode, okay? Who else would have been a good Edna? There's a lot. I mean, there's a lot, but I can't think of anybody right now. There's a lot of female actors with distinctive voices that could have done a cool transatlantic accent for it. She didn't really have a transatlantic accent.
She was meant to be
Yeah.
like half German, half Japanese with a slightly unidentifiable accent. So
Okay, there's no way they couldn't find anybody who could fill that role. That was like an unknown. Come on.
yeah,
Who was half German and half Japanese. That exists, y'all. Come on.
I think
But-
Sigourney Weaver would have knocked it out. She
I can see that.
yeah. I mean, really, Edna had the diction. It was a specific diction, and that's something that a lot of voice actors and actors could have picked up on and run with, and had a good time.
Yes.
Um,
And they probably save money by having him do the voice of her too. Like you can't ignore the financial element of it, can you?
mhm. And can we just say that she was a delightfully mean girl's girl? Like she was
yes.
100% on board
Oh,
with
your
making
stuff
sure.
together and slapping the shit out of her at the same time.
Making
Oh
sure
my
she
God.
knew what was up with Bob and giving her a way to track him. And just Bob came in and got his suit. She made the suit for the whole family. She was already ahead of the game on being
She
a
knew what
girl's
was
girl
gonna
and an
happen.
auntie's
See?
aunt. So
Edna is clairvoyant. She like, why would she make all that stuff? That would
is
be
that
terribly expensive.
clairvoyant?
She knew something was gonna happen.
Well, of course.
She's incredibly perceptive
She
if she's not clairvoyant.
what she knew
She
is
literally
that if the
lives in a
husband-
temple.
Yes,
Like
that's
she pointed at the waterfront, like I should design for gods. By the way, I live in a place with stone gods where are the walls. I'm not a clairvoyant spider.
not a clairvoyant spider. No,
There's no
but she
superpowers here.
knew that if Bob was showing up doing sketchy things, that Helen was going to get involved at some point, and just really couldn't resist the lure of designing for children with powers, which she hadn't had an opportunity to do before. Yes, she.
Well,
I mean,
sure.
look at how she got talked into doing Bob's new suit. That was just catnip. That was just straight up catnip for her.
Oh God, there's nothing about her character that I don't just absolutely fucking love. And then they like with the tracking device, which was the one thing that they kind of
That's
they
the one
threw
thing.
her under the bus
Yeah.
for, which she wouldn't have done. Like she
I don't
was
even know
way too good at her job to have done that, made
Yeah.
that fuck up. But then they frame it as that's Helen's fault because she just couldn't trust her husband. And it's like, he didn't deserve to be trusted. But that was supposed to be like that. They framed that scene to make it seem like if she would just trust him, and that it's her fault for not trusting him.
Right?
And-
Whereas it absolutely could have been a silent beacon. She could have still done all the
Yeah.
things. And then Bob could have just like farted in the room and it set it off. Whatever. That would have been fine. But no, they had to go down that road to make it sort of someone else's fault.
Yeah, and throw Edna under the bus, and she didn't do that.
She did not do that. No, there's no way. She is too good at her job.
Extremely, yeah. I absolutely agree. And
No, she's clairvoyant. She knew that the whole thing would meld the family together better than ever. She saw Bob come in, is like, okay, you're going to want a suit. Then I need Helen and the kids to pull your stupid ass out of the fire. And I'm going to alert the enemy, but keep it an inside
so
family
she's like
matter.
a clairvoyant family therapist? Is that
You
where
flip
we're
the
going
other
now?
side of her business card over and it says family counselor.
No, it just says God.
Because she is.
I will say
you can't talk me out of this. I think
the
she's,
physics
I
on
think
her
she's
suits
super
are not great because they're not realistic. This is supposed to be quasi-realistic, and that is magical tech. Speaking to the maybe she's a god piece, because the invisibility suit that makes it perfectly invisible, all of that stuff. Yeah,
She still has a shadow.
Super science in superhero movies has always been a thing, and almost on par.
Oh yeah.
I know. It's magic, though. It's not.
Yeah.
You have to hand wave
try to
some
act
of
like
this
it's
stuff.
science. It's like, you're
you just
violating
have
the
to hand
norms
wave
that you
some
have
of it.
established. I'm sorry.
I think it's built in now.
I mean,
Science,
the fireproof
science in
stuff
these is something that is usually reproducible and built by humans.
There were a
But
series of
usually
really,
got to have an unhinged mad scientist or something.
Mm-hmm.
there were a lot of like really good shows on the History Channel in the like 2000s about like, you know, Spider-Man tech and like Batman tech and like how these things would actually work on a scientific level. There was one on explained how like the scene where Superman gets shot in the eye might work because he might have some kind of chitinous layer that makes his eyeball you know, I mean they really lean into it, but they are able to take things in the real world and like, you know,
I want to know what this breathable fabric that's also indestructible with like lots of friction that she makes Dash's thing out of. Like, why don't we have that in pants?
Because it
Anybody
doesn't
who's
exist.
size touch understand that we need something that works a little bit better. Because the first part of your pants that wears out is the fucking crotch, and I'm tired of it.
Oh yeah.
It's just bullshit. It's like you got to throw away a perfectly good pair of pants if you don't know how to, or if you're like me, like you technically do know how to repair them, but you're lazy. I don't want to do that shit. Have you ever tried to repair a pair of pants? Anybody?
Yes.
Anybody who watches this and sews, the inside thigh of your pants sucks.
Yes.
You kind of,
Because you still have to, you got to keep the seams away from the area. You have to make sure it's thick enough but not so scratchy. There's a whole thing. It's a whole thing.
And yeah, like you gotta, like the amount of fabric that you have to harvest a whole ass other pair of jeans to get the piece. Because like this, otherwise the seams will chafe, and you can't do that. That hurts.
Oh, it hurts a lot. Yeah, hard pass.
Sucks. Yeah.
So what else?
Where is that magical fabric? Like, I mean, sure, the invisible stuff is cool. The fireproof stuff that isn't also incredibly toxic, also very cool. But where's that friction fabric? I
Star
need
Labs. Thanks for asking.
that. Can we make
Hemming
some-
detour. I didn't think we would go on a Hemming detour, but we did.
It's a good one.
know.
It's solid.
It's-
I did not like that they had Violet overcome her crippling shyness and be super confident girl who asked the boy out because it very much portrays being shy or not outgoing as a bad thing that had to be cured by her gaining confidence rather than it being just a personality trait that people can accept and like you work with it. Like I don't like it when they do that, where it's like now that the girl is pretty and has a smidge of confidence, she's overcome any of her emotional or other characteristics that are basically anything that makes her not neurotypical and not completely in the little pigeonhole of
right, like
teen.
I used to be shy too, and now I'm not. I just hate everybody, so it's the same thing.
Yeah,
But I don't need to like go ask the boy out.
right.
Yeah, a
Like they
step
made
further
her
with-
sexually aggressive at him, basically. And it's like, that's a choice.
I didn't like
and
the-
you
the-
haven't seen the second movie where they talk about the date she went on with Tony Reidinger. Oof.
I don't remember that part.
Okay.
I don't
What was his
remember
last
the date
name?
Tony Reidinger.
Reidinger.
Tony Ridinger. Dashiell
sounds
says it
very
weird.
dirty.
Tony Ridinger.
Right?
He's the cool kid, though, right? He's
Right in it's little gross.
Yeah.
I didn't like that she like changed her look in order, like, and beyond that,
Yeah.
like beyond the fact that it's like, you know, like her identity is different now, and like
I
you said, now
wanted them
she's
to go full
cured and
emo
she's
with
now
her,
she's
right?
yeah,
Why
like
did
let her
they-
stay that. Yeah, let her stay how she was and find
Yeah.
and learn how to
There's
live in her
her
own
nothing
hair
skin.
wrong
back
with
and wear
her.
makeup.
Yeah.
She was fine the way she was.
Yeah. I was fine with the way they were, by the way, is dad being having the Dunlop belly and like overflowing from his costume and just running around superheroing and having a good time. But they had to make sure that Helen looked at her ass and thought her ass was too big while she was in her new suit. Like, had to do
Yeah.
the body shaming.
I actually, you know what's funny? Because again,
I wish they would have done that and then just had her like do a little smile, like, look at how good my ass
Yes,
looks. That would have been better.
that would have been
Mhm.
amazing.
I'd never seen the movie like start to finish before, and at a certain point in the movie, like when she's in costume and they're moving into the third act, I'm like, oh, like I remember that scene from the trailer, and I was like, oh, they must have cut it out of like the Disney one because it didn't age well. And I didn't realize it just came later in the story, like when she sees it in the mirror, because it seemed like she would have done that when she first put on the costume.
Right.
And I thought it wasn't there, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, they got rid of it, and no, it was still there. It was just later.
But she puts
Just
the
later.
costume on in the airplane where she didn't like she was like debating whether or not to do it. So she didn't really have the opportunity to look at herself in a full
Yeah.
reflection, which
Right.
fair.
And similarly for Bob, he had to get into fighting shape to be like as part of his journey to being a good person again. And there's nothing wrong with a dad bod. There was no reason
No.
for that he had to like start lifting fucking trains and stuff.
I did like the when he's fighting the Omnibot and he like the bot fucks up his back. Like
Yeah.
that was funny. 'Cause I was like, oh my god, that is so relatable, right? So relatable. You turn 30 and your back is just fucked up for the
They
rest of your life.
absolutely could have played more with the middle-aged body breakdown kind of thing to like lean in instead of trying to make it seem like they were recapturing their glory youth that is lost. Like just go with the flow, go with how it is. Lean on how they've gained experience and wisdom and develop them that way. That would have been fantastic.
Maybe even incredible.
Incredible.
All right. Anything else that we want to talk about that we liked or disliked or wish was different? I mean, I think we were kind of like rewriting the story as we went along here. So
I really
a
like
little
the genre piece aspect of it, and you know, and I appreciate, you know, what it was for
like
when it
this.
was.
the 60s aesthetic of it too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
It was
It,
fun.
The
it reminded
aesthetic-
me of a lot of like one thing that it had that because again I approached it from like a difference from a Fantastic Four thing. One thing that it added was that score was really awesome.
Yeah.
Tell me if you guys picked up on this too, but it almost had a James Bond feel to it too, with the island hidden away and like
Oh yeah, no, they
layers
were
and all that
they were
stuff.
quoting
Like,
James
Sure.
Bond repeatedly, like the car and Edna being you know,
Yeah.
the
like
And
the
they even had,
gadget
like,
slash
that-
whatever person, etc.
The
Yeah.
hook in the song was a little James Bondy, like da 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 da. That was
Mhm.
that James Bond is.
Bond
almost
girl on
the
the
same.
island.
Yeah.
Who's
Mhm.
you know
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Money
they're-
Penny on the island. Yeah. And she had a like Mirage. She had a code name that was very Bondy too.
yeah
Mhm.
yeah they
Which-
were
Did she show up in the? I don't think she shows up in the second movie, but like, there is so much shipping out there of her and the character, the big character from the second movie that I didn't know existed until
Mhm.
I was looking up stuff for this movie, and I was like,
Nice.
that's an interesting to make her gay and to make her go for but like it works though.
yeah
I was like I didn't think that would be a thing that people would do, but also it works. It's a
Right?
good pairing. It's a good pairing.
certainly better than her and Syndrome, who is just not
Were
a
they
great
like
character.
together because you get that vibe, but also
Yes.
not really. Like
That's
he's
why she
very
was
much-
yeah they said at one point they were dating, and that's why she was upset that he was willing to let her be killed in theory by Bob. And that was her turning point for realizing that the bad boy really was a toxic asshole and not necessarily,
Yeah.
sexy bad power boy. But he was such a weak ass villain. Like his
Yeah,
whole
he
thing
kind
was,
of
I don't have superpowers, and my superhero idol said I should go home now. So now I'm going to build technology so that I can fake being a superhero and rub it in everybody's face.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
said when everybody has this tech, everybody will be super, and when everybody's super, nobody will be. And I was like, no, this is an Iron Man suit. Without Iron Man's suit, he's just Tony.
It was also the callback to when they talked about Dash at the start said, well, if everybody's
Yeah.
special, nobody's special. They were trying to Dash is a truth teller in this. Like he pretty much all the things he says are true, and the adults don't want to believe him or realize it.
Except about not putting the tack on the teacher's chair. Little liar.
I said mostly for that reason.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he had totally admitted it to his dad and got the high five that he needed in order to feel safe and secure in his own home.
I just want to real quick. I just want to disagree with you on that on Syndrome. I actually like Syndrome for two reasons. I thought if you look at him the way I do, I think he's great in that he's like a fanboy driven insane. Like he's like the ultimate comic book or superhero nerd that just wanted to be one and be accepted, and he can't go in. And like for the time again, and the other thing I was going to say was the trope of like failed sidekick turned into a villain. Hadn't really existed yet because this is a script from '93. This is a movie made in 2004. That really wasn't popularized in the comics, at least, until a few years after that. And again, this is pre like superheroes exploding and like fanboys really becoming like as cliche as they would later, like Big Bang Theory and things like that, So I liked ahead of its time that I could see kind of myself in that villain, that like, because like in a world where superheroes existed, like I would want to, probably be tied to that culture. It would probably be something that I was really into, the same way I'm into comics and movies and things of that nature. So yeah, I like that. I like that twist on him a lot.
Yeah, he's still wrong about everybody having this machine will make them special, and then nobody will be special. Because, like, look at how many people have a computer, and look at how many people actually know how to fucking fix that computer. First time you break the shit, you're done.
Also, too, I have a lower bar, I think, for superhero content in that, like, and I don't mean that in like a bad way. It's just that I keep going back to like this movie being a product of when it came out, and being a comic book fan in that time period, I watched a lot of really bad content, like 1992 Captain America, The Punisher, and stuff. So like, there's like, I have a low bar. For what I accept in a genre movie like this, but I also like appreciate when there's like an innovation that wasn't thought of yet. So I like this a lot for those reasons.
To your point, having someone who could be driven to the edge of madness because they don't get they don't have the superpowers and they're being boxed out of any sort of association to that life, or at least it felt that way, and just kept going. It on the one hand, it's good because it's kind of that that is something that could really happen kind of villain, which makes it scarier in some ways. On the other hand, it does feel like they're villainizing essentially mental illness, and that's not as good. So there's sort of a balance in there.
Mm-hmm. All right, you want to hit host now?
Yeah, no, I was.
Okay.
No, I didn't. I didn't know. I'm sorry, I was lying. I didn't know.
Oh yeah, quizzes.
So
I'd say
I didn't finish the sticker, but I got it. I got what I had done. So she's close.
Nice.
You gotta color her.
yes,
I gotta color her.
yes.
No,
Oh,
So
I'm
good.
absolutely gonna draw
nailed
Edna.
it.
I was gonna draw Edna or Mirage because I like those two characters.
Mm-hmm.
I
Now
wish
I
they
kinda
had
wanna
made
draw
Edna
Mirage.
smoke.
Yeah, because she had the little long sticky thing, but
Yeah.
she didn't. She put it in her mouth all the time too, but she wasn't smoking it.
No, she had the ash disposing at one point, so she was smoking, but
Or she didn't actually smoke though, right?
they didn't show her like blowing clouds very much, I don't think. But yeah, they were
Never
indicating
actually
she
shown
was.
smoking.
Yeah, probably
but-
would have changed the rating.
Yeah, like they
It was announced in the beginning. It
heavily
said
implied that she was smoking.
depictions of violence and tobacco use.
There was definitely like they kept kind of giving her a certain amount of old movie starlet glamour, and the stick was part of that, and having an iconic look was part of that. And yeah, oh
Cigarette,
yeah,
those just cigarette holders. Cigarette holders, yeah.
yeah, cigarette
Mhm.
holders,
Ugh,
the classy ones that were
why do we need
long.
those? Is it so that you didn't accidentally burn your fingers?
Yes, and also like Amanda said, the elegance of it.
Yeah,
It is fancy. It's very fancy.
yeah.
Keeps the smoke away from your delicate pores.
God damn it. Okay. I know what I'm doing. I've done this before.
So anyone watching, you can come join the quiz. Go to playeduplookit.com, then enter the 6-digit number 489838, and if you win, you get a sticker
When I finish it.
when Sarah finishes it. Probably this Thursday.
I think that Edna fills the page, so
Nice.
I should be able to do the whole sheet now
Very nice.
and not waste any paper. I think Edna will fill the page.
All right, gang, are we ready?
Mm-hmm.
Let's blast off.
Let's get it going. Take it. Accept. It's not accepting. I opened the wrong one, didn't I? Yeah, I opened the wrong one. Fine. I accept my penalty.
Do you want me to pause the game? Are you going to be able to get back in?
Yeah, I just have to switch to a different browser. If I join in one browser, it never works.
Well, crap. At least you figured that out, though. Weren't you getting kicked? I mean, or not? Weren't you? Obviously, you were getting kicked constantly, but
Mm-hmm.
it was just the browser that was the problem.
Yep.
I am not doing great. I'm going to blame it on being sick.
As you should.
Look at me go.
Hot start for Sarah. She's going to get her own sticker. Well done, guys.
That made my brain just go, what?
Oh,
Took me a second.
just technically. You got a point.
We're on the board.
Oh, fuck.
Sure. Fred Schwartz.
Like, I don't know. But I'm
I
pretty
thought
sure I picked the wrongest answer possible.
Everybody did. I'm sorry.
That's
I thought, you guys, read the wikis before or something. I don't.
Not usually
but
the musical
lot of
pieces.
stuff.
Maybe we should listen to more of that, but
eh.
there's a lot of things to try and capture.
You know?
I mean, they
That would
should have
be the
been.
most-
Absolutely
Yeah,
should have
that
been.
would be the most obvious choice for a long cape to get caught in.
Oh, yes.
Instead of mole man, it's mall man. Oh no, the escalator's
That's
got
how he died in the 80s.
Shit.
Who knows? Okay, sure.
Somebody got it right.
Must have been Sarah.
Must have been Sarah. Well done, Sarah.
It's in the movie. I mean,
There
was-
were so many names.
Bon Voyage was the bad guy, so I
Yep.
knew that wasn't right.
He
And
nearly
then
Yes.
caused a cape-related death.
Gazer Beam was the one that died on the island. Ooh. You. You took me a second to read those, like when I started, when I was like, oh. Took a second.
Was she though? She doesn't necessarily actually.
It was her look, wasn't it? The look.
Ish.
That
They
was-
full on claim that it was not related to any of the actresses or the fashion makers. It was its own thing, not related, but looked strikingly like two of them. So yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Mm-mm.
shit!
Right?
Fuck.
No idea.
What? God damn it! Amanda got it right.
Woo.
Red Right's hard quizzes.
I'm sorry. I'll
Oh, that wasn't a criticism.
Well, I think the last question is really there we go. My goal is to try to work Kevin Smith into every quiz now. So
I assume.
I was rooting for you, Brian. I wanted you to win on your
Yeah.
birthday, but well, close to it.
Let's do it.
I
But
got to have the
Sarah
show for
won.
my birthday.
Yay! But Sarah's punishment will have to be to send us those stickers anyway, because I want one.
Well, I mean, I was probably gonna send you guys all a copy of all of them, right?
Right?
Shit. What was I gonna say? I had a sticker-related comment. Fuck. Whatever. Wasn't that important. If it was, I wouldn't have forgotten it, right? That's the biggest lie. Well, one of the biggest lies I tell myself is that if it was important, I wouldn't have forgotten it.
Or that
doesn't
you'll remember
matter.
it later.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have to write this down. I'll remember. No, I won't. I
That
never
one.
do. I
That one's
never
been
ever
on
do.
there so many times.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
a lie.
Yeah.
It's just, and like, why do I do that to myself?
Mhm.
And then sometimes I write it down, but it's like I don't have my phone with me, so I try to scratch out onto a piece of paper, and then I put that paper in my pocket, and I was like, okay, it's safe now. It is not safe.
Oh no. No, if you've
No.
left it alone somewhere, it is
That
not
sucker's
safe.
going through the washing machine. That's
Correct.
what's gonna happen to that.
100%.
So, all right.
All right.
That
Well
that
then.
was a good one. That was a fun one.
What's up next week?
Next week, Ben Hunting is coming back. And what was the name of the movie he picked? Empire Records? Empire State
Oh.
Records?
Been a minute since I've seen that.
Yeah.
Empire Records.
Yeah,
Oh, Amanda
yeah.
is gonna
Empire
hate
Records,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that a couple times. So
Oh
yeah.
my god.
People
Plus,
liked it that
Ben-
I was hanging out with back
I
then.
love it. It's such a guilty pleasure for me. It's shit. It is. I will admit it. But it's
Didn't
it's
Ben pick the
bubblegum
last
shit.
one that we all like universally hated? What movie was that?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not gonna hate this one. I'm gonna fight for Rex Manning Day hard.
And sure.
He was here. He was here last year, I think, and he picked a movie, and we all kind of were like, "Oh, Can't Hardly Wait." He picked, and we all were like, "Oh,
Oh,
this
yeah.
movie was," bleh. And that
Oh,
was
hey, I didn't
You know what?
review that
I'm
one.
never gonna like those high school coming of age ones that always focus on the popular kids. Like, I'm never gonna relate to those because I got the shit bullied out of me in school. So I'm never gonna root for those popular, skinny, pretty people who all were like, you know, the homecoming queen and the football quarterback and the
Mhm.
valedictorian. Like, I'm not gonna vote. I'm never gonna like those movies. It's scarring. And it's just, and I hate those people. I hate everybody who was ever
They're-
the homecoming queen. Hate
yeah,
y'all.
those movies are very much designed to reinforce.
Also, most of them peaked in high school too. So I'm like, yeah.
They didn't, but that's what we like to say. In order
I
to feel
want to
better
tell
about
myself
it.
that
100%.
you need to be a better friend and just let me believe that. No,
They did, Sarah. I checked on every one of them from your school, and they
Thank
now
you.
suck.
But the thing
Just
is,
as much as them. And they're all unhappy.
well, I was going to say the reality is it doesn't indicate any future success for them, though. It was a snapshot in a time in their life where things went well. It doesn't mean good or bad for the future. Yeah.
some of them definitely peaked.
Oh,
I think
100%.
they're all-
Some do.
on their
Some do,
laurels.
absolutely.
But like the valedictorian of my high school class is a teacher now, and she's very good at it, and she's very successful. Well, I mean, as successful as a teacher can be in
I
this
was
day
thinking
and
it, but
age,
didn't want to say it.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
But like she's very good at it. She
Mm-hmm.
finds it to be fulfilling. I'm sure she's feeling a little burnout right now, but
Oh, yeah.
also she sticks it out, and you know, she did that. That's exactly what she said she wanted to do when she was in high school, and she did it. So like,
Yeah.
that's cool. I can't say the same thing about me. The thing that I said that I wanted to do when I was in high school did not happen.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, most people, life does not go the way they thought it would
No.
when they're making these plans.
why do they force us to make those decisions about our lives when we're
Because you-
17 and probably drunk or high or both
Uh,
and haven't slept in days and definitely didn't read the book that was required reading for
Mhm.
English class? Like, come on. Don't make those people make decisions like that.
I
That
was
is-
in,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I was in GT English for 4 years and I never read one book in high school. It's a travesty that I was able to pass with like Cliff's Notes and movies and whatever. I had reading comprehension issues, but that's no excuse. But yeah, it's shit. It's shit.
I always found it hard to get into it, but usually, like, there was a teacher. What was his name? Mr. Schultz? Something like that. Anyway, he would pick these weird fucking books, and he was a sociology teacher, I think, and pick these weird fucking books, and I was always like, ugh, don't want to watch. And then it ended up like it was The Jungle. Fascinating book.
Mhm.
Planet of the Cave Bear, also fascinating. The second that I finally forced myself to read it, I devoured the entire book in an evening. And so, like, they know what they're talking about sometimes. Sometimes they pick a book and it's a winner. The Good
Well, there-
Earth, too. I read The Good Earth and I just didn't want to read at all. And then I read it and I was like, it's quite the downer, but also it's a good book. Very
Well,
big downer, though.
You know what it is?
All right.
It's- Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, we should wrap up. We can talk about it offline.
Yes.
What? You don't want to talk about The Good Earth?
You want to hear me whine about Wuthering Heights?
Oh,
You know,
I have
that
many
does make me think
commentaries.
so.
I thought that would get a
At
reaction.
some, we
Did
should.
you guys see the new
Anyway,
movie?
so join us next week when Ben Hunting will be with us and we'll be watching Empire Records.
And just like one little quick sidebar here on the book thing, we should pick a book and do a book on this show because
Totally.
we haven't done that yet. And
Oh,
we
sure.
should pick a book.
Tons.
You guys, if you're watching and you think that if you have a suggestion for a book, put it in the comments and we will consider it. But it's gonna have to be probably at least a few weeks down the road from our last show because we need time to read it. It
We
depends
might
on how
not
big
have
it is and all
time
that
to do a
stuff, you know?
Brandon Sanderson book.
No, I don't have I don't have the attention span for Brandon Sanderson right now. Sorry.
I think of a
But-
shorter one. Anyway,
No, there's a lot of options. There's a lot of options.
yeah, let us
So,
know.
all right. Everybody have a good rest of your day. Go back, Luca. Go follow the pre-launch that's happening soon for Fisticuffs. You can find all this stuff on all of our social medias, which if you're not following now, why aren't you? What are you doing with your life if you're not following all of us? Come on. Come on, you guys. I thought you loved us. Anyway, have a good rest of your day, and we'll post those links in the comments because I know we didn't do that. And yeah, we'll see you next week. All right.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye, guys.